Welcome, everyone. I'll call the special meeting of council for November 24th, 2025 to order at 6 p.m. I do have a request. I'm looking for a mover and a seconder that the agenda be amended to include consideration of the Stitch Supper Club's revised presentation as provided to staff on November 24th, 2025 to support funding decisions related to staff report C-045-25. Moved by Councillor Van Kooten-Bossence, second by Councillor Bowman. Is there any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And then I will call on, a second one, that the agenda be amended to include consideration of the Curling Club's financial information as provided to staff on November 24th, 2025 to support funding decisions related to staff report C-045-25. Is there a mover for that? Councillor Hughes, and a seconder. We'll go with Councillor Hudson, please. Discussion? All those in favor of that? Opposed? That is carried. And I will now call on Councillor Hughes for approval of the agenda as amended.
Thank you, Mayor. You caught me by surprise. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Van Kooten-Bossence, that the agenda for the November 24th, 2025 special meeting of the Town of Ingersoll Council be adopted as presented.
Presented or amended?
Amended. As amended.
Okay. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Now ask if any member of council, as we've now approved the agenda, has a pecuniary interest. Okay. Deputy Mayor Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. I'm declaring conflict on 4.6 and 4.7, the grant presentations for Stitch and United Way. For Stitch, I'm a board member, and United Way is my employer.
Thank you very much. And the clerk will have a copy of those declarations. Perfect. Councillor Bowman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just going to declare a conflict on report C-045-25, the 2026 community grant update, if there happens to be any discussion on the Ingersoll Masons.
Okay, thank you very much. And Councillor Van Kooten-Bossence.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am declaring a conflict for the number 6 community development grant for the Ingersoll Kiwanis Club, as I am a Kiwanis member.
Thank you very much. Any further declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, I will now turn it over. We'll now go into delegations and presentations. The first one will be under Downtown Enhancement Plan, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Graves for an introduction.
Certainly, thank you. As council is aware, we've been working for some time on our Downtown Enhancement Plan. This is the culmination of work of a lot of different departments and, of course, our consultants that are here to present. And we feel this will set the stage for improvements in the downtown over the next few years. We're very much looking forward to working more closely with the BIA on these projects, and having that connectivity to them will ensure that we have success in this project. So with that, I'll turn it over to our consultants to do their presentation.
Thank you so much. Well, good evening, Mayor and Council, town staff, and neighbors. I'm Melissa Durrell from Durrell Communications. I'm joined by Ryan Mounsey from Urban Insights, and we're here to present the final Downtown Enhancement Plan, a strategy rooted in the voices of this community and designed to help Ingersoll's core thrive. Excuse me. Oh, did I do the wrong button? Here we go. Broke it. There we go. Okay. Is it okay if I continue and then when the PowerPoint comes back, we can continue on? Is that okay? Or? I'll do this again. So across Canada, small and mid-sized communities are facing a shared challenge. Our downtowns are under pressure. The rise of e-commerce, shifting consumer habits, and the retirement of longtime business owners are leaving more main streets with empty storefronts and declining foot traffic. In Ingersoll, approximately 1 in 10 storefronts are vacant, and the south end of Tam Street has been particularly affected. These aren't just economic signals, they shape how people feel about the heart of their community. So rather than wait, the town took action, issuing an RFP and engaging our 2 firms to lead a forward-looking community-led plan. Our shared goal was clear: to develop a realistic, coordinated roadmap that builds on Ingersoll's strengths while addressing the barriers holding it back. Between December 2024 and March 2025, we led a comprehensive engagement process with over 350 people, residents, business owners, developers, staff, and community groups. We ran some surveys, hosted workshops, conducted interviews, and held committee discussions. And across those channels, we heard consistent themes. We heard a deep sense of pride in Ingersoll's character. People love the walkability of the core, the historic architecture, and the sense of connection. Events like Pizza Fest, the Santa Claus Parade, and Harvest Fest drew high praise. We also heard strong appreciation for the public library, the town hall, Ingersoll Creative Arts Center, heritage of the cheese industry. That was an interesting one. Elements that make this place unique. I'm not sure how many people did the cheese scavenger hunt, but it was a blast. So at the same time, people were honest about what was missing. We heard concerns about absentee landlords, long-term vacancies, and a lack of diverse businesses, particularly in the dining and entertainment space. Developers and business owners flagged red tape, slow approvals, and some zoning hurdles. We also heard that housing is needed downtown, especially rental and mixed-use options, that existing programs aren't always visible or easy to access. So we took that input, both the optimism and the pain points, and turned it into a clear plan. It's built around 6 strategic pillars, each directly tied to the community feedback. These pillars give council and staff a framework for action, flexible enough to adapt over time, but focused enough to deliver real results.
Thank you, Melissa. And the strategic pillars are about a unified blueprint. And as we work through the different parts and items of the downtown action plan, the enhancement plan, we falls under a cohesive vision. And with this cohesive vision, it's about championing small businesses and growth. That is the fundamental basis of enhancement for downtown Ingersoll. It is about preserving the charm and to build identity, heritage, and the architecture were seen as highlights. It's about building our brand, and so the brand of Ingersoll and downtown has been reinforced through items like signage plans. Placemaking with purpose. The placemaking with purpose is about bringing more people downtown. And as we bring more people downtown, they'll spend more money for the shops and services that are located there. In terms of supporting residential intensification, this is about having more people live downtown. We've identified targets that will have people living in the existing buildings or the surrounding neighborhoods and maybe some redevelopment sites. And this is about aligning and activating existing resources. The partnerships that are built on, the relationships that are built on, the council decisions that move through this will determine how you move through this blueprint.
So let's dig a little deeper in. Pillar 1, as Ryan mentioned, is about supporting small businesses. So that includes like a pop-up incubator for a vacant storefront, maybe offering grants to attract businesses in, a pitch to win competition, making it easier to use CIP funding and business supports, and then testing flexible hours and boosting the town's liaison role. Pillar 2 focuses on identity, the look and the feel of downtown, so a new awning grant program, public murals and an artist alley initiative, improvements to seating and lighting and planters, and riverfront activation, pocket park enhancements. All of these will preserve the charm while inviting new energy. Well, Pillar 3 is about building the brand, and this work's already begun. Your staff and council have been off to it, so there's a new communication staff in place, downtown marketing strategy. We're recommending at least 3 to 6 campaigns each year, getting the word out, business spotlights, interactive maps, and a welcome package for new business owners. Ongoing media outreach and storytelling that starts to build civic pride. The 4th is placemaking, so expanding the facade improvement plan, gateway signage and interpretive plaques, redeveloping Dewan Park and Heritage Square, and introducing sustainable elements like green infrastructure and permeable paving. Finally, Pillar 5 tackles housing. So we heard loud and clear, more people need to live in the core. So this includes grants for upper story conversions, zoning updates for mid-rise and missing middle housing, outreach to developers, not just for marketing, but for deal facilitation, tracking and celebrating residential growth downtown. Pillar 6 is reviewing the BIA and how the city and the BIA can work better together, including a shared services agreement. Dedicating at least one full-time employee as a staff resource to coordinate these downtown projects, and launch event toolkits and pop-up support to empower local businesses.
The implementation plan is based off of a phased, practical, and impact-driven set of recommendations. As we look through the different options and recommendations, it provides a framework, a structure in looking at the short-term, mid-term, and long-term. And so when you look at the short term, these are items that can move quickly. These are low impact in terms of financials, but high impact in terms of experience. So 0 to 3 years, there's a set of recommendations that flow through the different options to enhance the downtown. The midterm, year 3 to 5, these are more complex and have budgets tied to them. And so as you work through this scaling set of recommendations, you'll be able to decide like a menu in terms of what options that you can pick to enhance downtown. And the last long-term section is the 5-year plus range. This is the heavy capital projects, and as the city, or excuse me, the town continues to evolve, new funding grants will become available, new options will become available, and this is a living document. And so the idea is to work through the phased implementation. In terms of measuring success, this is all about KPIs, and so these key performance indicators is that you can actually measure the overall pillars, and through this process, you can review different items that will indicate the success of the program. When you look at items such as the number of new businesses opening, we know what the vacancies are, and you can count the number of new businesses. In terms of the CIP and grant uptake, these are application processes, so you can record those. In terms of the residential units, you can record those as well in terms of how many people are moving to the downtown area, and then there's a consumer impact tied to that. In terms of event participation and business involvement, Melissa talked about the 3 to 6 major events. These are all things that can be celebrated. In terms of streetscape improvements, you already have a wonderful downtown with the planters, the flowers, the reeves, and you can continue to build on that, investing some dollars over time to enhance that even further. And in terms of foot traffic, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. There's technologies out there that can record the amount of people that are coming downtown. Major events, there's ways to identify the number of people that are coming to the core. And these are all trends that you can tie to the enhancement plan. And lastly, public satisfaction engagement metrics. During survey work, reaching out to the community and seeing how they experience the downtown. And so I'm going to leave on 5 key points, and the 5 points are about building momentum. When you look at the phasing and the implementation work and the pillars that are presented to you today, this is all about building momentum and enjoying the successes of these events. In terms of partnerships, this plan relies heavily on partnerships, and that's what's going to continue to drive the success of the enhancement plan. In terms of strategic investments, you may not be able to do them all, but you can choose the ones that are most appropriate and effective at the time. In terms of vibrancy, this is perhaps the most important part, is about how people are experiencing the downtown. And confidence. I would say that this plan provides the framework for you to move with confidence moving forward. You have clear actions that are able to deliver events and attractions to the downtown. And to thank staff and all the stakeholders that have come through this. This is a career highlight project for Melissa and myself in terms of the staff involvement, and they did an amazing job in terms of pulling together all the items to present to you today. With that, I stop the presentation and happy to answer questions.
Thank you very much. Questions of the presentation from council, please. Seeing none, thank you very much.
I'll just add on a personal note, Ingersoll special. It's really a special community. We really enjoyed meeting the people here, so thank you for that.
Thank you. With that, with Councillor Heller's absence, is there a mover for the recommended motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive the presentation of the Town of Ingersoll Downtown Enhancement Plan as information, and that Council adopt the strategy in its entirety and direct staff to implement the plan, providing further reports as required? Moved by Deputy Mayor Wilson and Councillor Van Kooten-Bossence. You're still in the second. Excellent. Discussion. Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a very comprehensive report. It was fun to read, a lot of these reports and that type of stuff. Not as much fun to read, but this was great. I appreciate all the work that you put into this. I think with this groundwork, we can build on this, and as you're predicting, grow a beautiful downtown that's going to be vibrant and very well enjoyed by not just the residents, but also people that come to visit. Thank you.
Councillor Van Kooten-Bossence.
Thank you. I want to thank you for the report. I've got some questions in the regards to that we're adopting it, it's an entirety. But I'm assuming that staff are going to bring that back to us and what that's going to look like. I mean, there is, as you said, there's a lot in it, and I would agree, and I think it's great, but we have only so much money to go around, so I'm just wondering how it's coming back to us.
I'll go to Mr. Graves.
Thank you. I'll start. I don't know if Curtis wants to chime in, but of course, as council will see, like a number of other projects, you'll see a number of the items brought forward during budget times. We'll be bringing forward what we think are priorities. There may be, because there are a bunch of agreements and cooperation that need to be in place, we'll be negotiating some of those, and they may form actual agreements that come to council. They may see them through that. And there may be sometimes where there's certain types of investments that need to be made that may be joint investments. So again, it could come forward as a report. But during the next few years, those will be the priorities that we set. We'll be focused mainly on the agreement and work with BIA over the next year or so. Those will be key, and we'll be trying to implement that rather quickly. And I think that's all I have, but maybe Curtis has something else.
Well, basically, we're just looking for direction from council that this is the direction you want to move forward with, and then staff will bring back regular reports or budget reports to request to implement it. But basically, we're just looking for some direction to start the process based on the plan and try to implement it. We understand that budgets aren't unlimited, and we'll do it in a responsible manner that adheres to our budget process. So this just gives us the marching orders to start work on the plan.
And maybe just as a follow-up, I remember the other thing I wanted to say. The community improvement plan was already planned to be under review, so we'll be reviewing that as part and parcel of it, but now we'll be looking at it through this lens as well. So that's something we'll be planning to undertake anyway.
Further discussion? Councillor Hughes, please.
Yes, thank you. Would this be something I would suggest we could, staff could propose to the new strategic plan that will be coming up next year after the election that would give you even more of a mandate to move forward and adopt or work on some of these programs? Is that something that is also going to be done?
Yes, that's right. As we move to a new term of council, we'll probably highlight some of the work that was done in the past term. There'll be a number of these reports, like the health strategy will be another one, and say, how much of a priority is this to the new council, and how quickly do you want to proceed with some of that? And we'll get some direction through, and I think that would be a great place is in the updated strategic plan. As council knows, what I favor is we like to do a strategic plan at the beginning of the term of council that gives us our goals, and items like the downtown enhancement plan will be something that council will want to consider in that strategic plan to say how much of a priority is this and what, and maybe some key items out of it. That can also be a driver of how we proceed.
Further discussion? Councillor Bowman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I agree. We need to adopt this, and as to Councillor Hughes' comment about the strategic plan, absolutely. We need to put some of this in place and bring it forward. As far as some of the ideas in here, having been around for a long period of time, I guess I've seen some of these ideas in the past, and I think it's great to be able to revisit them again and find out what worked and what didn't work, where it maybe failed or where its strengths are, and then we can build on it and maybe revisit a lot of these. And they're all good ideas. It's just how do we implement them? And I think this is an opportunity for us to, as a collective group, to take a look at it rather than just a board.
Excellent. Further discussion? Yeah, I'm going to say that there is a lot here, and I think going through this process, the town has shown some leadership and some direction on forming the plan, but really nobody can do it by themselves, and that's not really what it's about. It's about you need the businesses to come on side, the BIA to come on side, the chamber. There's a place for everybody in this, but really when we're trying to figure out what to do, we have a plan that everybody can look towards and go, okay, what can I contribute to and what can I be a part of, and really how can the town support that? So it's good to be able to give staff that direction and the community that direction to be able to go build those partnerships those up. You know, I'll say from the BIA, we got a lot of new members who are enthusiastic, and you know, there's a lot of young business owners that are investing in our downtown, and that's exciting to see. So to get that perspective, and as Councillor Bowman has said, when he was younger, he went through a lot of these. It's good to see that young vigor come back in and see how they can do it for a new time period, but have the structure there that's put in place where the town can support them moving forward. So it's great to have something that everybody can rely on and hopefully measurable and work towards some great improvement. We do have a great downtown. We have some fantastic businesses. Being at the Lighting of the Lights from the BIA on Thursday night there, you know, I heard a lot of comments about Hallmark Town, and it was fantastic to see the amount of people come down and support that small town feeling, and it was great that we can be able to do that. So there is a lot to be proud of, and there's a lot to be able to work with there. It's not like we're starting at zero. So it is really to an enhancement plan and not a building plan. So I certainly can support that. And again, not everything's going to happen. Things change over time, but there's a lot of stuff there that can that I know will happen. And it's really about how much we all embrace it and what we can do going forward for budget needs and stuff like that. But hopefully we'll have fantastic results, and we'll continue to have a fantastic downtown. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Excellent. We will now move on to our next presentation, which is the OPP Detachment Board presentation, and we have Taj Bra to give that presentation. Tosh, I want to welcome you here this evening. I know that this board's had a big setback lately, but I think Mr. Davis would want the show to go on, so I appreciate you being here tonight.
Of course, thank you. So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Taj Bra, and I'm very pleased to present the 2026 budget for the Ingersoll OPP Detachment Board. Is it going to be pulled up here? I guess I could just talk about it, I guess, as well. So to begin, I want to briefly highlight what the board is and the role it plays in our community. So the Ingersoll OPP Detachment Board is one of 3 police boards in Oxford County. Our board plays an important oversight role, so we act as the bridge between the police and the community, helping ensure that local policing priorities reflect the needs, concerns, and expectations of the people that live here. So we meet monthly just across the hall here to review local policing trends, discuss community issues, and support initiatives that strengthen safety and trust. So residents are always encouraged to contact us with feedback, questions, or concerns. And I believe our email is psb@ingersoll.ca if anyone does want to reach out. So looking back on the past year in 2025, the board did support the purchase of 2 speed spies, which have already proved as valuable tools to gather accurate traffic data and support enforcement where it's needed most. Now turning to the 2026 budget, so this year's budget remains largely consistent with last year's budget. However, the main change and the highlight of this year's budget is the planned purchase of e-bikes for the OPP. So these e-bikes are a meaningful investment. They allow officers to interact more naturally with residents, improving community engagement, visibility, and approachability. They also support safer access to trails, parks, and neighborhoods that are more difficult to typically reach by cruiser. We will also be collaborating with the Safe Cycling Committee, who are also considering adding a related line item to their own budget so we can work together to promote safe and accessible cycling in Ingersoll. So overall, this year's budget continues our commitment to community-focused, practical, and cost-effective policing tools, all while strengthening the relationship between officers and residents. So thank you so much, and I look forward to any questions if there are any.
Thank you very much. Any questions from council? Deputy Mayor Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. I'm not sure if you're able to answer this question. It's just out of curiosity. If these kinds of purchases were identified as a policing need, were they discussed as being included as a part of the detachment, like the actual OPP budget? I'm just curious why Tony wouldn't include it in their budget from the OPP and why it comes out of the Police Service Board budget as a capital purchase.
Or maybe I'll transfer that question over.
Thank you. So that is a great question. In the past, I know the Police Service Board did, and I'm going to say probably about 15 years ago, did donate 2 bicycles to the OPP for cycling within the community for the exact same reason that Taj had mentioned earlier. With information that has now been received, this line item may be removed because there is a reserve fund that the prior PSB had that I believe we have access to as the board, which would sufficiently allow us to eliminate that line item. But as for community interaction, we feel that it would be a good addition to the detachment in order to get them out into the public spaces, riding trails, and that type of thing to help that interaction. And, you know, put the friendly face on the OPP.
Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
And I'll call on Councillor Van Kooten-Bossence, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wilson, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive the OPP Detachment Board's budget presentation as information.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. That'll lead to our next presentation, which is the Good for the Soul. And I'll call on Jay Penisenko and Catherine Rathburn, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council members. Wow, we're here early this time. It's not 5 weeks out. It's not 3 months out. It's actually 7 months out. How is everyone? So you guys requested for me to be here, but I guess I can kind of go. We're looking to bring Good for the Soul back for its 3rd year, and I think along with your downtown enhancement plan and those other things, it's all about strengthening business partnerships. So I can tell you that I have not stopped working on it since last year's ended, and here we are in November, still going. I've been out having meetings with Food Project. On Friday, I had a meeting with the BIA. We've been talking about taking it to 2 nights, where maybe the BIA will take care of the Friday night before, which could enhance your downtown quite a lot for that evening anyways. You obviously have some questions for me.
Questions from council?
Lindsay?
Yep, Deputy Mayor Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. The letter that you've submitted to council mentions that the contributions will support operational cost, infrastructure, and accessibility measures. And I'm happy to see the accessibility measures. I think that's a great addition. So I'm just curious, what kinds of accessibility measures do you think you can implement? And have you done any kind of costing around those kinds of enhancements?
Not 100%. However, not too long ago, I went to see, about 3 weeks after Sass played here, she played in London, and at the East Park concert, they had a little wooden platform that had a little ramp up that was perfect for someone who was in a wheelchair or in one of those carts. They were able to pull up. It was kind of off to the side. So there is some of that options. I mean, we really haven't run into that. We are lucky because we do have the entrance down into the park from the top with the pathway. So as long as we have something that they can get off, I mean, and the grass isn't like it's deep, so it's not really off-roading, but it might be nice, yes, to, if we run into this, to maybe actually designate a little bit of an area for anybody with disabilities or needing a place to be able to view.
Further questions from council? Jay, what kind of obviously, this year's a little bit different, but obviously it's early in the planning cycle. What do you see as potential hurdles this year from last year?
As potential hurt, well, obviously, we all know CAMI with the shutdown. We don't know what the economics going to bring. I don't know our sponsors. I mean, from the first year we had, I believe it was 42 sponsors, which led us to 89 sponsors last year. So my plan is hopefully sometime beginning of December to just send out an email, try to start getting some feedback so that, right in the start of the new year, that's when we start looking into. With that meeting that I had with the BIA, I'm currently have been trying to apply for other grants. There are some other grants that require the event to be 2 days, which I wanted to do the previous year, it didn't work out. So as you were saying, now the BIA has a bunch of young people with some vision and people that might want to get behind this and actually drive it to where it could possibly go instead of haltering its progress.
Okay, so just trying to figure out that funding sources and the...
Yeah, I mean, basically, in order to throw a free concert, it's dependent on money, and we have to find that money. And I have not stopped looking.
Excellent. Councillor Hughes.
Through you, Mayor. Hey, Jay.
Hi, Rick.
Question, are you, depending on the success of the event, are you going to be earmarking a certain amount to carry forward to support, let's say, 2027?
That has always been the plan. I mean, the only source of revenue for Good for the Soul is the beer tent. And if all of the beer tent goes to, I'm all about charity, and I would like to give some money away, but when all of the available profit goes, there's nothing to earmark. I would have loved to have earmarked something this year, for sure. No, exactly. And that's just it, because if the festival only has one actual stream of revenue, which maybe, the merch, I mean, maybe in time it will go. I mean, there was a lot of things that I wanted to do that didn't happen this year. So, those visions can go. But yes, eventually it would be good, because obviously, hey, what if our businesses are in a tight spot and they can't do it? This event should not stop, because, they were good to us for 3 years and all of a sudden they're going through some hard times. Also, there hasn't been one business that should have had to have said no about sponsorship, because if they didn't have the funds, I worked out something with them in some sort of marketing to help them go, right? So, this thing has always been about building relationships and partners, and I think over 2 years, we've have built quite a lot of partnerships with a lot of these businesses downtown. So definitely, yes, would love to be able to bookmark some. So it'd be nice to be able to say, hey, the beer tent's over, hey, this is going towards next year. Plus, if there was any remaining sponsorship money, that helps, right? And then we say, okay, now we can cut a check for this organization, hey, so the festival not only did good on the night, but it did good after, but it also has a chance to grow and continue on the next year. Now, with some of the government funding, that could make this a lot easy if we get approved for this grant. So like I said, I met with Dave Cripps on Friday, and it looks like the BIA and I are gonna make a go at this and try to go for 2 nights where they handle the first night. But you ride on the coattails of Good for the Soul.
Any further questions? Deputy Mayor Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. So did the Lions Club not provide any seed funding in subsequent years from the previous year?
They put back in a sponsorship, right? They sponsored, which for the sponsorship, they got all that was listed in their sponsorship. So they put back in, yes. They put in a sponsorship, yes. I was unaware how much money was made the first year. Actually, I still am.
Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I will call on Deputy Mayor Wilson, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Bowman, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive Good for the Soll Music Festival's budget presentation as information.
Okay, discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay. I will now call upon Ingamo Homes. Welcome. And I believe we have, sorry, could I get a pronunciation? Ingamo, but of Sophia and Zarina. Zarina, okay, thank you. Sophia and Zarina.
I'm not that tall. Okay. So, hello everyone. My name's Sophie Foster. I'm the Public Education and Fundraising Coordinator for Ingamo Homes, and this is the manager of Ingamo Homes of Outreach and Programming, and Zarina Garcia is her name. So we will be giving our presentation for the grant that we proposed for the town of Ingersoll. So we're very happy to be here, and we're very grateful for the invitation. So essentially, we're here to share how a partnership with the town of Ingersoll can help expand public education, prevention, and community safety initiatives right here in the town of Ingersoll, specifically based on gender-based violence. So to start our presentation, we really just wanted to kind of lay the foundation of what the heck is gender-based violence. So, when we talk about gender-based violence, we mean any harm directed at someone because of their gender, gender identity, or gender expression. So why are we focusing on the word gender? So originally, this type of violence, if you go back to the 1970s, you think of terms like battered women, domestic violence, domestic abuse, and gender-based violence is the word that we're using now. So the reason why we're doing this is to acknowledge that women, girls, two-spirit, trans, and gender diverse people are disproportionately affected by this violence. So when we use the word violence, it's not just physical violence. It includes emotional, sexual, psychological, financial, tech-based, or, of course, physical abuse. So gender-based violence impacts individuals, it impacts families, workplaces, and entire communities. In 2023, Oxford County officially declared gender-based violence an epidemic because of the severity and frequency of cases continue to rise in our communities. So for everyone in this room, I'm sorry to tell you, but you probably know someone who has experienced it or have experienced it yourself. It is everywhere in our communities. So who are we? So who is Ingamo Homes? I do like to kind of tell our sister organization's story in order to tell our own. So DASO is our sister. Yes, we are two separate organizations, but we work very closely together. So DASO is Domestic Abuse Services Oxford. They are essentially the emergency shelter for Oxford County. So they're called the First Stage, and they were started in 1974. So funnily enough, the crisis shelter was actually started as the Women's Emergency Center, and it was started by one woman who put up her own home to start a crisis shelter. And so it was actually one of the first 5 in all of Canada, which is crazy. And so there were women and children coming from all over Canada, including Alberta, New Brunswick, all in the 70s trying to get help. So the idea now, looking at DASO and what it is today, essentially it's 24/7 emergency crisis. So we have about 17 beds available, and women and children are able to come and use it as a high-level security facility, and they also provide a crisis phone line, which is 24/7 as well. So, thinking about DASO, they started in 1974, and they realized that women and children were only coming there for maybe the weekend, maybe a week or two, and they had nowhere else to go afterwards. And so, about 15 years into running DASO, we realized, okay, we need something after this. And that's where Ingamo came in. So Ingamo means a place of friends. It's an Inuit word, and it's counted as second stage shelter. So second stage is transitional housing. So the idea is that it gives you more time to get back on your feet. So not only do you get rent geared to income housing, you get court support, counseling, and basically a place to kind of like resettle and get refigured in your life. So we have 21 townhouses, and it's really, really an amazing project. I will say for Ingamo, we always have lots going on, and usually at any time we have about 35 to 45 kids living with us. So we have lots of fun. Together, as sister organizations, we serve all 8 municipalities in Oxford County, including many Ingersoll residents who rely on our services every year. So thinking about issues of housing, cost of living, and the rise in violence that we're experiencing, we do play a really critical role, and we do see like a very big importance on the work that we're doing, including Ingersoll. So why does this matter for the town of Ingersoll? Well, gender-based violence isn't just isolated in Woodstock. Both DASO and Ingamo are situated in Woodstock, but we help women and children all over the county. So Zarina will talk a little bit about the issues of what that looks like. But just for some numbers and what that looks like. So in 2025 alone, just thinking of Ontario and what this looks like for our province, since last November, 35 women and girls have been killed in Ontario due to gender-based violence. And we know, without obviously violating confidentiality, that Ingersoll residents are consistently using our services, whether it's for shelter, counseling, support, or safety planning. Currently, obviously, there are no local second stage options in Ingersoll for gender-based violence. And many rural residents face added barriers, thinking about transportation if you don't have a vehicle, isolation, thinking about rural communities like our own, as well as stigma and also fewer local support networks. So our hope is that we can expand prevention and education directly into Ingersoll, ensuring residents have equitable access to resources, information, and support. So now I'll turn it over to Zarina to keep going. I don't think I needed that high either. Okay, hello everyone. So I'm Zarina Garcia. As Sophie introduced me earlier, I'm the manager of programs and outreach at Ingamo Homes. So I'm going to cover a bit of our pain point, like the challenges that we face and why we are seeking funding to engage and reach out with the residents of Ingersoll. Not only are the community partners, but the people who live here. So the challenges that we face, we're definitely seeing an increasing demand all across the county, all across the province, all across Canada. And so when we think about how this is impacting our county, we're looking at rising GBV cases as well as the severity. When I speak about severity, I'm talking about the risk for lethality. I'm talking about more cases showing up in public health at the hospitals, more cases of women experiencing women and children, experiencing more severe forms of violence. We're also looking at longer wait lists and higher crisis calls. So our services, due to the amount of resources that haven't really increased over the years, it's not necessarily meeting the demand or even the rising costs to continue and sustain the services that we already have. We also experience transportation barriers due to the rurality of the county. So it's not just addressing the services itself, but how do people get to the services? Especially if a person is experiencing financial abuse or other forms of abuse from an intimate partner, transportation and accessibility to our services may be withheld. That could be accessibility to even a phone. So how do we address that as a challenge? Stigma and isolation that prevents survivors from seeking help. Some people are just in denial. They are needing support, they are needing help, and they are experiencing trauma, but the reality is they fear what their neighbor will think. They fear what their parents or their sister or brother or their best friend might think if they seek help. And we really want to reach out and raise awareness to let folks know that you can receive help. You know, it is a problem in the community, and it is okay to experience it and want to heal and do better for yourself and for your family. There's also chronic underfunding, which I spoke about already, just the fact that resources haven't really increased, even though the demand has. So Ingamo has not really seen funding change since the mid-1990s, and so as a result, we experience an operating gap annually of $150,000 a year that through most of Sophie's bootstrapping, we fundraise just to keep those essential services running. So these challenges highlight why dedicated support from municipalities like Ingersoll is so important, because the resources that we have now, oftentimes when it's funded by Woodstock or by the county, we have this very wide net to reach. But when we have targeted funding for a specific community, we can better address that community and the needs of that community.
So just as a reminder, you're closing in on 10 minutes now. And so I'm not going to cut you off, but just to be fair to others, we'll just try to maintain that target, please.
Okay, so speed run. What we're proposing in our project is to host workshops here in Ingersoll. Those would be interactive for adults and youth around healthy relationships, red flags, boundaries, accessible trauma-informed materials and resources, and increasing community capacity to recognize and respond to gender-based violence. We are also hoping to host the Take Back the Night March for Oxford County here in Ingersoll. It is an annual event that we have every year in the county, and it rotates within the municipality. So last year we hosted in Tillsonburg, or sorry, this year we hosted in Tillsonburg. The year prior to that, we hosted in Woodstock, and we're hoping to bring that annual event here in Ingersoll, and that would be September 2026. And then we're also hoping to launch our campaigns and awareness raising. We do it all across Oxford County, but this will really help to support the engagement and the marketing within Ingersoll. This is a budget snapshot. I know you have a copy of it, so I won't go through all of it, but it's really just to say that we thought through the costing. We are very resourceful as a nonprofit on a shoestring budget, so we can really make $10,000 work across a whole year. I just want to highlight our innovation and resourcefulness in that. And the funding impact, so if you just take a look at the stats that we have here, so currently we hosted 118 women's programs up to October 24th when we submitted the presentation. We've added a few more since then. Same thing with the child and youth support sessions. We've hosted 73 this year. You can take a look at the numbers, but essentially we are also tracking the progress. So when it comes to the impact in Ingersoll, we would be able to measure that. And if it's worth your while to have a report after, that's something we would generate typically for our stakeholders, our community partners, just so that folks know what we're up to, what we're doing, and so that you know we're staying accountable to the funds we receive. And we would have the numbers to essentially back it up. And then why us? So really just saying that we identify ourselves as experts in our field. I'm sure you know, like many of you already know tidbits of what gender-based violence is, how to address it, and have a lot of ideas in mind on how you can improve the community. But dealing with this work every single day and knowing the best approaches and best practices for trauma and violence-informed care, evidence-based research, and ensuring that we also can communicate to the folks of Ingersoll and relate in a way where they can see themselves represented in our services and receive the help that they need. Essentially is why we believe that we are a good fit to bring this kind of work into the Ingersoll community. And then just as far as sustainability goes, we are looking to build long-term capacity. Like I said, Sophie has done an incredible job with fundraising and building capacity, and it's just something that we keep doing. We're good at doing it, and we will just continue to work on sustaining our agency and the funding and the relationships that hopefully we are able to solidify through this work. That's it. Sorry, that was my speed run of the last 3 slides. Thank you so much. Sorry, we didn't know about the 10 minutes. Okay.
Fair warning for everybody else. Our procedural bylaw, I guess just keep in mind that if you provide something, the council has read it and is prepared, but it's always good to you have 10 minutes. Again, I'm not going to cut anybody off unless council wants me to. But just to keep it fairness. So I will open the floor to questions for the presentation. Okay, Councillor Hudson, please, and then Deputy Mayor Wilson.
Thank you for the great presentation, a lot of great information. I just had a question. Do you get any provincial funding at all? Like, do you apply for grants provincially, or does all your funding come from Woodstock County?
We do receive provincial, like annualized provincial funding. Essentially, that's to keep the lights on and our staff employed. So anything like engagement initiatives, campaigns, and things like that, we have to apply for. Usually, they tend to be like one-time grants, like with Ontario Trillium Foundation and things like that.
Deputy Mayor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you. You referred to the Healthy Relationships program. Would you intend to deliver that in schools or, through Fusion, or just kind of open at the library, for example? Like, I'm just trying to picture how you would kind of get the best engagement to deliver that program in Ingersoll.
Yeah. I can speak to that quickly. So I will say getting into schools is really hard. We would love to get into schools if anyone has an insider way to do that. But last year we got an Ontario Trillium grant, which we have been testing out. Healthy relationships, bystander intervention, those kind of workshops around Oxford County. And actually right now we're doing them in Ingersoll at the Fusion Center. So we're kind of getting like a test run of how it's working in Ingersoll. So yeah, we would look at like public places. So library, the Fusion Center, any place like that where a lot of people go. That's kind of our in.
Further questions from council? Deputy Mayor Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. If this question is not yours to answer, feel free to say so. But this is a pillar that has been identified within the Safe and Well plan, which all councils have adopted. So I'm just curious how you feel like this kind of meets, also knowing the new plan hasn't been adopted yet. Do you feel like this hits some of those actions within the Safe and Well plan?
I will say yes, and we're on, like, it's an ongoing process as part of our strategic planning for our agency. We're always trying to meet the actions of the pillar, especially because GBV has been identified.
Councillor Hughes, please.
Thank you. What funding do you receive from the county or from Woodstock?
Sorry. Sorry. So Oxford County, we receive, there's a capital grant that we have every year, and that's really because we offer a residential, like, therapeutic program. So that goes towards like our maintenance. The property is 37 years old now, so we're coming up across a lot of capital costs on renovations and just natural things like plumbing going, electrical, et cetera. So really that funding goes towards those repairs and maintenance. That's what we receive from Oxford County. And then as far as Woodstock is concerned, that it's very similar to like Ingersoll, where we would apply for a community development grant or a community project grant, and then it's just kind of case by case every year. So we don't get annualized funding from the city of Woodstock.
Question, of the funding, the items on, I guess it's slide 8 of 10, how many of those are done in Ingersoll? Were any of those sessions or any of that?
Would that be this one?
No, one down.
So I could pull up the numbers like at my office. It's not something I memorize at the top of my head, but because we are Oxford County, anyone who calls from Ingersoll would be served. I would just say that that's more of an outreach piece if and when. So we have had women that apply into the program. We don't discriminate by where they're coming from, so they could come from Ingersoll. We have had women and families move in from Ingersoll and into our residential program, but I wouldn't be able to pull off the exact, like which ones exactly they kind of fit into without seeing the numbers in front of me.
So just to clarify, those are programs that are specifically for the housing piece of it?
All of these are for all Oxford, like they're all Oxford County numbers. So they could be from anywhere in Oxford County, but they're,
Okay.
Is that what you mean?
I was just trying to figure out if there was, I didn't know, specifically, I just don't know what a child and youth support session looks like. So I didn't know if that was like done at a home or if it was done at like a site here in Ingersoll or at where that kind of takes place. But that's kind of where it was, is just kind of where do these things take place, and if they take place in Ingersoll now or throughout the county or that section of it. But there is, as part of the agenda today at the county, as part of the budget, Ingamo Family Homes was identified for and recommended for a $31,500 grant for advancing the action risk, priority risk number 5, which is gender-based violence. So is that sort of the same work that would be done with this sort of grant funding throughout the county?
No. So the $31,500, I believe that we applied for was to elevate an ongoing project that we have around addressing high risk for lethality through a multi-agency coordinated approach. So it's really working with like child welfare, the shelter, OPP, Woodstock Police, the hospitals, et cetera, on addressing high risk for lethality. So when there is a woman or a family that is presenting risks that she may be killed or that her or the kids may be killed, then everyone sort of comes together and we create a safety plan and mitigate that risk. Someone talks to the alleged perpetrator and hopefully addresses that through preventative intervention ahead of time. That's where the 31,000 piece is sort of coming in. It's a separate project, and it's also multi-agency collaborative. The Ingersoll project that we are looking into is really just increasing our reach and awareness in this community, specifically in Ingersoll. There would be some relationship for sure. Like a lot of it would look like, you know, if there is high risk for lethality that shows up in Ingersoll, how are the connections and relationships through the Ingersoll project going to help elevate our ability to address those high risks here? But it's not directly related in that like this project and that project have overlap or anything like that.
Okay, thank you very much. One of the things I asked for today, because the county grant program is a little bit different, was there's not descriptions of, they're applied through the county, and the county, so I've asked for descriptions of all the ones that are recommended, just to, so we can have that information about, you know, so we can explain that to community members what we're supporting as well. So I appreciate that. Any further questions from council? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
And I will turn to Councillor Bowman, please.
Thank you. Moved by myself, Councillor Bowman, seconded by Councillor Hudson, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive Ingamo Homes budget presentation as information.
Thank you very much. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And that'll take us down to our next one, which is the Ingersoll Kiwanis Club for Putt. And I believe we have Victoria Road coming. Nope. Perhaps Ian Robertson. We have a Kiwanian.
I'm the oldest one in here, so it's okay.
Okay.
Just tell you what to do? Yeah, good luck. Okay, good evening. My name's Ian Robertson. I'm the treasurer of the Kiwanis Club of Ingersoll. With me, I have Randy Rosiak, who's the secretary of the Kiwanis Club, and our two summer students from this past summer, Ariane Vroon and Sebastian Day. The third summer employee is studying for a history exam as she's entering university next year and thinks her marks are more important than being here tonight. And I can't argue with that. So tonight we're first, Councillor and Mayor and Councillors, thank you very much for taking time to hear our plea. Funding, we've appreciated the last 2 years of your support, and we're coming back to the trough again. This year we're bragging about what we accomplished last year with the new obstacles that and the improvements that have made to Putt. It played out extremely well. We had well over 4,500 visitors playing golf this year, which is amazing. I think everybody thought Putt was aimed towards youth, which it was, but we had almost as many adults playing now with the creation of leagues, and even seniors are playing. I went down one night to play, and there was only adults down there playing, and I think this is amazing. For the price that we charge, it is not a moneymaker, and I don't see that changing. Our price is $2 for a child, and $3 for an adult, and $8 for a family. So the Kiwanis does support the shortfall. Other funding we do get is Canada Summer Jobs. We got enough funding last year for 2 students, and the third student was funded through funds earned and the Kiwanis Club. It was an amazing, as I said, amazing year. I think that the in-kind donations we get from a number of businesses, besides the sponsorship money, we do get a lot of in-kind. All the new obstacles were manufactured in town. Most of the materials were paid for by the corporations. Any money out of their pocket, we did reimburse. We have some handy members in our club who are able to fabricate and convince their employers to take part in that. What we're looking for funding this year is to continue with the renovations. I think 6 or 8 new obstacles, and also the shack which I think was erected somewhere around 1960, is in need of major renovations. And again, we have skilled members in our club that will undertake a majority of that, so labor is cheap. We just need to pay for materials. We want to do a safety for the employees that we will have this year, training, more intense training on that angle. And I think the other thing we're looking for is more people to attend and have more fun. As you can see what was done last year, it has become quite a viewpoint as people travel east and west on Charles Street. It's very, very noticeable with the new mural we got there. Again, donated. We paid for $50 for the paint, and the rest was free of charge. So we do call upon friends and business in town to support us, and they have come through very nicely. Anything else I should add to that, Randy? Historical plaques. Oh, that's right. That's why we're here, the historical plaques. Some of the new obstacles. Victoria left me and went to Mexico, so she's left me with this. Anyway, the historical plaques, as you see from the slideshow that was presented, they have a lot of Ingersoll and area descriptions and what have you, and we want to put emphasis on those articles that are there, and we've got the boat from the Wilson family. That's going to be enhanced. The one we got now was a first attempt, or just something to get out there. So that's our basis is orientated towards Ingersoll, but we do accept money from anybody who wants to come and play. Anything else? You guys want to say something? Come on, it's your chance.
Okay. I'll try.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron.
So this year I was the manager of the Putt, and something I was very proud of this year is getting some of our local businesses to sponsor some free mini golf days. The independent grocer sponsored our 15th anniversary party, which was also a free mini golf day, so anyone could come down and play around. IMT sponsored 2 mini golf days. And then your friends?
Yeah, Todd Real Estate.
Yes, Todd Real Estate. They helped us with another free mini golf day at the end of the summer. It was just something to get the local businesses involved, and just some people that not necessarily can, that want to come down and have a round, but they can't necessarily afford it, even though it's only $3. But it was just something we tried, something new this year, and I think we're going to continue it next year, something a big thing. Continue. Yeah.
Good.
I got something. Here we go. We have an IMT's banner up there from one of those free mini golf days.
Who got the IMT one?
Is that me?
It was you. That's right. Okay. Do you want me to? I'm finished.
Okay, perfect. I don't want to cut anybody off. That's my whole thing tonight. This is everybody's chance, right? So certainly I'll open up the floor to questions from council. Deputy Mayor Wilson, please.
Not a question, actually, but just thank you to the students for coming and sharing your experience. No offense, it's always nice to hear from the young people in our community about how they're engaged, what they're getting involved in, so kudos to you both for getting involved. That's a really great experience, and kudos to the Kiwanis for providing that opportunity and for the Putt. It is such an asset to our community. You could probably raise the price, and you don't, and I think that's really important and really appreciated. So thanks for coming.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
I have a question. Why do you want to change stuff when it's already so hard? I thought it was going to go down there and be okay, I remember being a lot easier when I was a kid. I don't know, but that's...
You didn't improve with age, Mayor? No, I think that the obstacles have become quite an event down there. It used to be pretty easy to get a hole-in-one. And I can speak for one of the employees, Emma's dad, who was down there quite often and thought he was pretty good previous years. And he got a hole-in-one in one hole this year. It is almost nigh to impossible. So it is a lot of fun, and that's what we want it to be. Making money isn't what it's about. We fortunately have sponsors. Canada Summer Jobs, hopefully will come through with three students this year. And the sign sponsors, the town, and other entities have helped us out a great deal.
Any further questions? Thank you very much. You did a wonderful job. Victoria will be proud. I will call upon Councillor Hudson, please.
Thank you. Through you, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hughes, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive Ingersoll Kiwanis Club budget presentation as information.
Thank you very much. A discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And we'll just wait for a little switcheroo to happen here, and we'll get Councillor Van Kooten-Bossence back in, and Deputy Mayor Wilson will. We'll call on the Stitch Supper Club, please.
Cool. Well, we're going to find out if it's working or not. Mayor, Council, thanks for welcoming us. We are from the Food Project. I'm Drew Williamson, Aaron Bechtel, Kathy Mott, Paula D'Orazio. We are here for, a topic that's a little less fun than the key putt, but important for our community. We want to tell you about food insecurity in our community, what we are doing about it, and ask for your support.
So before we get into the details of what Food Project is, I'm sure a lot of people in this room are aware food insecurity is rising, not just within our community, but for all of Canada. Specifically within our community, though, according to documentation from United Way Oxford, the demand in Oxford County has increased 60% over last year for the use of food banks. 1 in 16 people rely on food banks, and 73% increase over last year. Ontario has the highest increase in use. And so Food Project kind of came together because some of the volunteers that work within multiple charitable organizations within our community, delivering access to food for people who need it the most, noticed a few key issues for everyone. One of those being storage space, another being volunteer support, and a third being funds available. So everybody kind of felt like they were competing against each other for the same grants. Everybody was limited on what they could store, which really makes spending money efficiently difficult. So Food Project came about. We are located within the Rotary Charitable Warehouse. Within our board, we have Cycles of Life in our church, Stitch Supper Club. We have representation from the Kiwanis Club, from the Rotary Club, from Ingersoll Community Foundation, as well as Transition to Less Waste, ISSI, the Senior Center in town, as well as we're breaching over into supporting the schools. So I'm also on the board representing the snack program at St. Jude's, as well as the partnership that we have with Fusion Youth Center. So that said, what we've been doing is trying to break down barriers for each individual organization. Because each of our individual organizations, for the most part, are volunteer-driven and ran, as is Food Project, time is limited, as is experience. So coming together around the table, we've been able to lean on each other's strengths and their qualities, our relationships that we've each brought to the table, the sponsorships that each of the individual organizations already had established, to figure out a way to spread that open a little bit more in order to reach more people within the community. So in terms of what has been done to date, this summer we moved into the Rotary Charitable Warehouse, and we have been running ever since. So we have grown exponentially on our boards and on our committees, the work that we're doing within the community, and just trying to figure out new ways of how to get food out to people, how to identify the needs within the community. So we've been busy applying for grants, soliciting donations, putting together fundraisers, and really just talking to people to get our word out that despite everything that's going on within Ingersoll, we're here to support you. So we have, like I said, various fundraising and partnerships that we're serving. We have a volunteer committee where we're quickly gathering a pool of people within the community who are ready and willing to jump at opportunities to assist, as well as provide funds to help us get to where we need to be. We have a contract under a group purchasing organization where we've been able to build relationships with wholesale vendors, food service suppliers, and we're in regular talks with our local grocers as well, who are actively engaged in the program. So with that, we've been able to extend it to each of our charities. We've also been able to extend those vendor contracts to the schools who are serving what I would argue are our most vulnerable people in the community, the children. So with that, we've already been able to realize a cost savings of between 20 to 40%, utilizing those negotiated costs that we've been able to build with our vendors and allowing the schools and the other charitable organizations to access those lowered costs through that negotiated contract.
So building a food warehouse is an expensive endeavor. Luckily, we've been able to secure a fair amount of funding within the community. For clarification on there, there's a lot of money up there. We have a full warehouse that is going to be equipped with freezers, loading dock, racking, and it's in a building. After the initial capital phase of this project happens, which will be pretty much finished over the next couple of months, there'll be very, very low operating costs for the food project and for the food warehouse. So what are we doing next? So over the next couple of months, hopefully before Christmas, we're going to get a walk-in fridge and a walk-in freezer installed in the building. They're both 120 square feet. At the same time, we're working on electrical upgrades to support the building, support those freezers and fridges, and plumbing upgrades. We're also working on a roll-up door at the back of the building with a cement pad so we can unload trucks, have food come in on pallets, and be able to handle those efficiently. So what do we need from Ingersoll Town Council? So the last thing that's on our wish list, need list, is fridge and freezer racking that is food grade. So it's plastic, it's specifically made for food, and poly pallets that are specifically for food that will be reusable by us.
You want me to wrap it up?
Sure.
All right. So with this funding, it'll allow us an opportunity to store the food that's coming into our facility. Right now, we're engaging in food rescue 4 times per week, but it is limited by our storage at the moment. It's incredible to see the amount of food that comes through that warehouse. And it's absolutely amazing to see how efficiently the volunteers pack that into our current chest freezers. With that walk-in fridge and freezer, it's obviously going to open up that storage space for us, allow us to move more food through the building more frequently, getting it out to more people in the community. But we need a place to store it on. So the furnishings that go into those structures is what we need assistance with. And I also wanted to note, and that I apologize, we all apologize for the bit of confusion between our applications. What we're presenting today was our initial application. When we got the feedback with the request for more information from council, there was just a little misunderstanding, and we didn't recognize that we could reach out to you at Town Hall here for more clarification. So we had made the incorrect assumption that you were looking for different information instead of further information. So we're hoping that we had that opportunity cleared up today.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Questions from council? Councillor Hughes, please.
Thank you. So I'm a little confused. You're with the Food Warehouse and you're with Stitch.
Well, Stitch is the lead charity for Food Project.
Okay.
So Stitch is the lead charity, Food Project is an umbrella underneath of Stitch.
I see. Okay. Perfect.
One of the things of starting a charity is if you don't have any established background, it's very hard to get donations. So we started this under Stitch, with a common mission, really.
So the Food Warehouse is under Stitch, then, not under the Rotary.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a.
Paula is chair or president of both Stitch
Mhm.
and the Food Project. I'm
Okay.
treasurer of both.
Okay.
So, and there's a lot more overlap too.
Okay. All right. Perfect. No, I was just wondering because it's.
It is, I asked that same question when I got a volunteer.
I have a very elaborate chart I can email to you.
No, thank you.
Any further questions from council? I just have one. Obviously, we get a lot of great requests coming forward. This was one. This was the largest one. I know Paul and I talked, but I just want to make sure, like, is it possible to? Is it all or nothing, or no? Okay.
No, we can definitely work with whatever is able to be provided. Like I said, we're really good at stretching funds and finding donations. We have applied. We've applied to a few other grants to help us support it. Desjardins Foundations, also United Way Oxford, and one of the county grants as well that we've applied for that will help us get to where we need to be. Also, Ingersoll Community Foundation has been a big supporter. We don't want to ask for too much and close those doors from them, so we're hoping for additional support from other donors, but we have plans in place to help support the funds in excess to what the town is able to provide.
Excellent. It's always good to be out, and this is a great opportunity to share that story, because the more you hear about it, people want to help. And I think the great thing about this organization is everybody working together, and that's a big one, and it goes a long way to make that tough problem that we're all facing. As you stated, it's getting harder out there, but you're finding ways to make it more efficient and work together, and that's a great thing. So it's always the more you can go promote that, the more it gets in people's, and people want to be a part of that. Any further questions from council? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I will call on Councillor Hughes, please.
Caught me by surprise again. Thank you. Through you, moved by myself, Councillor Hughes, seconded by Councillor Van Kooten-Bossence, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive Stitch Supper Club's budget presentation as information.
Thank you very much. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And now I'll call on Kelly Gilson for United Way, please. Last but not least.
Good evening, Mayor Petrie, members of council, town staff, and the few remaining community citizens. It's a good thing I'm not sensitive because the room just cleared out. It is my pleasure to be back this year. And I was here literally, I think, 12 months ago. United Way had just bought our Ingersoll lighthouse, but we hadn't even closed on the property. And so above and beyond the grant request, I really want to share a little bit about what has happened since and our lighthouse, because we are just so incredibly proud of the work that is happening and the lives that are being changed. And does that mean I buy it? Okay, here we go. We'll put that one right down. So as you can appreciate, if I'm going to be here, it would be a sin not to take a moment, bless you, to do a shameless little plug about United Way. And I think, there's a few important pieces that you all want to know, but first and foremost, we're the largest non-government funder of social and human services in the county, and we are 100% local. So when we say we're local, we are 100% Oxford County local, and 1 in 5, in fact, inching a lot closer to 1 in 4 individuals across our county are directly touched by a United Way funded program or service or something in particular that we deliver. We fund in 3 different bucket areas, and the transition house, the lighthouse, is obviously from poverty to possibility. Building strong communities is about bringing that sense of belonging and building volunteerism and capacity and mental health supports. And I think everyone in this room wants to ensure that families and children have everything they need so that those children can thrive and grow into a healthy adult and a really productive member of society. We invest in all of those areas, and as you know from your experience tonight, it is not easy to make some of those funding decisions. But everything is interconnected. And so what is really important about transitional housing, and when we started down this path in 2023, when we purchased our first house, which is in Tillsonburg, we talked as a board, our board talked for about a year, knowing that transitional housing was a best practice and it could truly change lives. We had been funding the staff provided through the Community Health Center to do that work, but we also knew we needed more space. We needed a place that could be a transition house. And our board, and I give them every credit in the world, came to the decision, if not us, then who? And we could do it, and we did do it. And so transition housing really, as I said, is a best practice. It is a place where someone can live for up to 364 days. And not only is it a safe and affordable roof over someone's head, it is about the supports, the on-site staffing supports, the wraparound services, the connections to the community. It is the way to help lift people up and get them back on their feet so they can move forward into stable, independent housing. And we are so proud of that work, and we are so proud that in April of this year, we were able, after renovations, to open the Ingersoll Lighthouse.
Sorry, could I just stop you for a second?
Sure.
Sorry, just hearing a dog barking. It sounds very close. Okay. Please continue.
There you go. That's a first.
I just didn't want everybody to hear you, right?
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Mayor. Another piece about transitional housing that you may not know is that anyone who moves into the house is on the county's by name list. So this is a program we are not doing in isolation. It is in partnership with Oxford County and again with our partners who are providing the direct support. United Way is a major funder, as is the county, specific to the Ingersoll House as well, because we were a very grateful recipient of an RFP through them. But this is for Oxford County residents who actually need this support and have a readiness and an interest and a willingness to move into a home, to embrace the support, and to really look at building a better more stable future going forward. So the Ingersoll Lighthouse, as I said, opened in April, and after our renovations, we have a 6-bedroom home that is conveniently located, that is, and I'll show you photos in just a moment, but it is everything you would want in your own home. And we have staff there 5 days a week who are there to support individuals with anything they may need. So it might be connection to healthcare, it might be transportation to another program or service. They are there to meet the needs of the individual residents. It's communal living. Everyone has a private bedroom, and in that space they can lock their door and they have their area. But the shared facilities, the kitchen, the dining room, are not only where they can enjoy their own free time, but it's also where a lot of the programming and service happens in the house. Sometimes it's individual, and sometimes it's as a group. So if you could imagine a house that is so warm and welcoming and it feels like you're being wrapped in a sweater or a hug, this is the Ingersoll Lighthouse. It is a beautiful, beautiful home that was fully renovated and furnished to welcome individuals. Here are a few photos. You can see bless you, a gorgeous living room area. The Christmas tree is now up. There's a beautiful back deck area so people can go outside and enjoy the fresh air. It has high ceilings and big windows. It's a historical home. It truly is amazing. Beautiful big kitchen. So not only are individuals making their own meals, but this is where a lot of the programming supports are, and I'll get to that in a moment, but building life skills, which includes things like budgeting and cooking and planning meals and doing things like laundry and making the most of programs and services in the community to leverage opportunities. This all happens right there in the house. I think this is a lovely quote from one of the residents. It was told to us with permission by someone from the Oxford County Community Health Center, but it really speaks to this is one person's story, and it's a path to a new future, a better future, but it really represents so many of the people that have gone already through the Ingersoll House, and certainly through our experience in the Tillsonburg House. Since we opened in April, this 6-bedroom home in Ingersoll, I believe we are now at 9 residents. So we have had folks that have been able to move forward into rent geared to income housing, into something that is really appropriate, because that is the key, to build people up and then allow them to transition into something that is stable going forward. This is the best part of my entire presentation, and sadly it is the part you are not going to get to hear tonight, so there's a problem with the link. We will share it back out afterwards, but I really do urge you to take, it's only a few moments, I urge you to take a moment and listen to Christina's story. You know, I think sometimes we envision who may or may not be experiencing homelessness, and for a variety of reasons. And I think Christina graciously shares her story to show but for the grace of anyone, and how quickly something can happen, and how important this kind of a program is. So you will have it tomorrow, and I do urge you to take a moment. And so I'm here this evening to ask again for some funding for the programming costs of the house. Let me start by saying, I'm embarrassed to say, when we started down this journey with the Lighthouse, both in Tillsonburg and now in Ingersoll, the one budget thing that we never thought of was the actual cost of programming. We thought of utilities. We thought of the best internet so everyone could stream on different devices. We thought of all of the things, lawn maintenance and care and furnishings and sheets and towels, you name it. We actually forgot thought that we would need to be buying food and supplies and garbage bag tags and some of the things that go with programming services in the house. And so initially I had, because the house is up and running, will be up and running for the full year now, I had increased my ask over last year. But out of recognition and respect for the situation I think that you are in that we have many unknowns, especially with what's happening at GM. And I'm sure you can appreciate the impact on United Way is significant as well. Historically, GM CAMI Assembly and our dear friends at Unifor Local 88 have represented 20 to 25% of our annual campaign. So with the loss, not only are we seeing a significant dollar decrease in our annual campaign, but we are also seeing and anticipating an increase in the need for supports and services. So it's a bad combination. We recognize that you're in the same boat. We also recognize that the other organizations that have been here this evening all are doing incredible work. They too are struggling to find additional dollars. So because we have such respect for them and their work, and we know that we can only accomplish what we all do together, we are going to rely on some of our friends to deliver some fishes and loaves and some other things to stretch those dollars to really make sure that we have the staff person. We will work together to find the dollars needed, and it might not be exactly what we want or is exactly as often, but we will see that something does indeed happen to give people those life skills that they need. But more importantly than the money, and please don't disregard the money, we certainly would value the money, but we also believe it's really important for United Way Oxford and the Ingersoll Lighthouse to be a partner with the town of Ingersoll to do this work, because these are our people, this is the community we're serving, and we really are changing lives. So another way to get involved or to show some support, and this is where we will do our darndest to try and build up, and that's to the coldest night of the year. So last year, and you will see GM's logo there, they were a $20,000 title sponsor for the event, which we are certainly not anticipating to happen again this year. But the walk in year 2 was spectacular. And we had almost 150 walkers, 20 teams, so many volunteers. It is such a moving experience to bring people together, to really just harness the energy and the care and the compassion for others. And we're going to do it all over again on February 28th, 2026. And so I know that the dollars in the budget are going to be stretched really tight this year, but another way that each and every one of you can get involved is to really be a champion for our coldest night of the year walk. You can enter a team, you can sponsor individuals, you can promote to businesses, to your neighbors, to your book club members, to anyone who really believes in helping others, because this is the way that we can do it and truly make a difference. It is remarkable what can happen when community members come together for a shared cause, and that is to help the most vulnerable in our community. And we're doing that through the Lighthouse. We're also doing it through all the other programs and services here that we fund and will be funding. You've heard some of that tonight. And with your help, we can knock this one out of the park and make sure that everyone has hopefully a few extra dollars to serve at a time when the need is increasing greatly. I'm happy to take any questions if you have any.
Questions of the presentation? It's not your first time, you can tell. Question for you is just, are you currently looking, if obviously with GM situation, like you said, probably not, are you looking for a title sponsor still? Or?
We are.
Okay, so. Yeah.
We are working currently on sponsorship and actually just starting to get some confirmations. We don't have anyone, I will be very honest, we don't have anyone lined up for title sponsorship. That was an extreme gift to us last year. That that is not where the title sponsorship starts. I believe it's $5,000 in order to qualify for a title sponsorship. So we were blessed in that year, and we do appreciate that, but we know it'll be a different year. So we are looking for those corporate sponsors. And then, truth be told, the real piece de resistance with Coldest Night are the teams. An average team brings in $1,500 per team. And so you can appreciate it doesn't take too many to really start to see that thermometer, if you will, go up. And it also just really inspires people at the same time. So it's a win for them, it's a win for us. But any and all help would be really appreciated.
Any other further questions? Thank you very much. I will say that I'm super proud of this community for stepping up the way they did for the transition house. You know, Oxford County put out the capital, but the community came together and took ownership. And, you know, sometimes when those initiatives are out there, you know, people look at them first negatively, but that never happened. People were out there championing it, and I think our community sees the benefits of that happening. So it's wonderful to see that it's being so successful and it's helping people really transition, because I think that's what we all want. We want to make sure that people are in a bad situation don't get in a worse situation. That's right. They move through the spectrum of housing and back to a successful life. So.
We have been very blessed. The neighborhood, the community itself, but the neighborhood in particular has welcomed us with open arms. We have not had one issue. People have been kind and generous with donations and with, you know, groceries and their own talents and wanting to come and do like an art class or something else. It has been such a wonderful thing to experience, and I think it just speaks volumes to this is a caring and kind community, and they want people to be back up on their feet to move forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councillor Helleru is not here, so I will read it. That the Council of the Corporation Town of Ingersoll receives Stitch Supper Club's budget presentation as information. A mover for that, Councillor Bowman, and nope, sorry, the wrong one. Sorry. That the Council of the Corporation Town of Ingersoll receive United Way's Oxford's budget presentation as information. Councillor Bowman and Councillor Van Kooten-Bossence, you're still excellent. Discussion. All's in favor? That's carried. They're both carried. Okay, we will bring back our Deputy Mayor. Okay, that concludes our delegations and presentations, and I want to thank everybody. Everybody was efficient and a lot of great information there. So. Next, we will move on to staff reports. The first one is C-045-25. Is there anything in the report that the clerk would like to add to?
Thank you, Mayor. There isn't a lot. Basically, the presentation summed up everything that's captured in the report, except for the Rotary Club, which we've noticed, or which we noted in the report. They formally withdrew their community development grant applications and will be instead submitting a sponsorship request to be captured within the budget. And then the Ingersoll Masonic Temple, we circulated updated details on the rental revenues, or the reduced rental revenues because of their work in the community. So those were two things that weren't captured in the presentations this evening that are within the report. We'd obviously be seeking direction from council on which applications they would like the mayor to consider being included in the budget, along with associated funding amounts, but happy to answer questions at this time.
Okay. Is there any questions of council on the report? Or I believe there is a motion. Oh, sorry. No, absolutely, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Are we going to nail these down, accept these tonight, or do we have time to research and discuss the other presentations that we received this evening?
It's always it's up to council what they want to do, but there is time. You know, there's other items of the budget that needs to be information brought forward, so there's certainly time, and I think there is a motion to defer. Councillor Van Kooten-Bossence?
If
If I can, I'll put the motion out, and then we can talk about that. Moved by myself and seconded by Deputy Mayor Wilson, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive staff report C-04525 as information, and that we defer consideration of this report to the next budget meeting.
So just procedurally there, I don't think we can receive it as information and consideration, and then defer consideration. Yeah, okay. Okay, now that I think about it, okay, I was just thinking that we're going to receive this stuff, but then we're going to consider it at a different meeting. So if we, can I just confer with the clerk for just 1 second? So yeah, so if you receive something for information, that's an action of council, and therefore councils took action. So either if you want to defer consideration of the report, that's an option, or we can receive the report as information, but
can't do both.
My chair ruling is that you can't do both because you're already taking action as receiving it one way or the other if you receive it for information.
Okay. I don't agree with you, but that's okay. You're the chair, so it's all good. So I will change my motion, and hopefully the deputy mayor will still second it, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receives staff report C-045-25 and defers consideration of the report to the next meeting, budget meeting. We're receiving the report not as information, we're deferring it to the next meeting. Did I say that right?
I would just say that you defer consideration.
We defer consideration of the report to the next budget meeting. How's that sound?
I think that
Are you
sounds...
still, are you still good with that, Deputy Mayor?
I think that procedurally works.
You're going to make that
in this
sound
position.
right.
So
perfect. My apologies.
Discussion.
If I may,
Councillor Van Kooten-Bossence, absolutely.
if I may, there's a lot of information that was brought forward tonight, and I think that we need time to take that all in and think about what has been brought forward to us, look at what's also being brought forward to us in the next budget meeting, and then make more decisions at that point. So that's why I asked for it to be deferred.
Excellent. Further discussion? I certainly agree with that. There is a lot there, and I think that it wouldn't be fair to the organization that presented information without fully considering that. So, for discussion, seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, that is carried. And that takes us down to item number 10, ED-021-25- museum roof replacement. Mr. Graves.
Thank you. It's taken us a bit to get here, but I think in the end we're getting to the right place because this roof is a better quality than what we'd originally anticipated. When we got into this project, we discovered that there was a fair bit more work that needed to be done on the building. One of the goals of the museum is to develop a controlled environment inside this facility in the near future, and making sure this roof is a good quality standard is the key component to ensuring that we get to that controlled environment in the future. So staff are recommending we proceed with this project at this time. And I don't know if Curtis has anything he'd like to add, but.
Thank you very much. Questions of the report? Councillor Hughes, please.
Thank you. Through you. So there's a good history built up here in regards to this report and where we are today. So back in May, when we actually approved the repairs to happen, I don't believe the roofing was up at $136,000. What happened? Like initial, I believe, costing, which, if I remember correctly, the question was asked, are these accurate or are these close to good quotes? And we were told yes. Why now is it almost tripled?
Curtis, please.
I'll take a stab at this. So it was the advice that we had at the time was based on the Camium report, and we they were qualified engineers that were giving us quotes or giving us information. We did have some staff quotes that we quoted. We put it out for a tender that included the siding, and that came back at an exorbitantly high amount. Through that, the advice that we received was that we should be looking at a standing seam roof, which is a higher cost roof than what that staff quote was. So we can go with the standard metal roof, or we can go with the standing seam roof. The intention of the standing seam roof is to require less maintenance and have a longer warranty and be a higher quality product. So staff discussed it, and the decision was made to quote the higher quality roof based on the advice of the firms that we sought advice from. So the intention here is to have a roof that's going to last us for 40, 50 years. It's going to seal up the building. It's going to allow us to perform the repairs that will remove the mold from the building and hopefully not cause any issues for a long period of time. So that's what staff put the quote out for, and the best quote that we got here was this one. This does also include a $20,000 contingency, so we may not need that. We're hopeful that we don't need that. Based on the quote and the proposal that we received from Elgin, we think that we won't need that $20,000 contingency. And then if you take the HST off, then it's just over $100,000.
Councillor Hughes, please continue.
Thank you. I believe the roof on some of the other buildings has been replaced in the past, I'm going to say 8 years. Is this a similar roof system that we used on the other buildings, or is this something completely different?
So this is a bit different roof. So the Bowman barn, for example, is one where we just use a traditional metal roof. There's gaps in the wood. It's not an airtight building. It's not a building that we're trying to, climate control. We're trying to ensure is perfectly sealed up. So that would require a less high quality roof. This roof that we're looking at, again, based on advice that was received, will be a higher quality roof that's going to require less maintenance going forward. If the Bowman barn, for example, leaks, it's not the end of the world because the rest of the building is not perfectly sealed up. The intention here is to reduce headaches going forward and reduce maintenance costs into the future.
Any further questions to council? No, go ahead. Continue.
Thank you. So is this a proprietary item that's only available from from Elgin Roofing, or is this readily available throughout other contractors or roofing companies that can get that on a regular basis or on an easy basis?
This one's not proprietary. That's why we received 4 quotes. Our concern is that perhaps the tender that was released may have contained some proprietary information. That's why we only received 1 response. So it was modified to make it more generic for the quote, the request for quotes. And that's why we received 4 bids. It's not a proprietary system. It's just a better system than what the standard metal roof would be.
All good? Okay. What is anticipated completion date of this project now that once we approve this? Go ahead.
So Elgin's indicated a six-week lead time. We've put it on the radar that, subject to council approval, we'll be proceeding with this project. So we're hopeful that we can get it done as soon as possible, but we anticipate at least a 6-week lead time to get the materials.
And I guess it would be weather dependent as well. Councillor Hughes, please.
Thank you. The financial implications will be funded from the museum reserves. That's not going to dip into the other repairs that need to be done and the allocated money in the previous May report that has been already approved?
So to date, we've done a number of upgrades to the facility, and that includes heating in Sherbrooke Barn, upgraded electrical in the schoolhouse, replaced the breaker in the cheese factory. We got information from the electrician that the main building and the Sherbrooke Barn were fine, so we didn't proceed with upgrades to those panels. And we installed security cameras. So, and we also received a grant from Farm Credit Canada to help with some of those projects. So all told, we've spent $17,000 so far on those projects. The outstanding item in that list from the May report is the siding. We tendered it together as a package earlier in the summer. We received a quote that was, we only received one quote, and we received a quote that was extremely high. So we thought we'd break it down, do the roof, that's what's most important right now, and do the siding next year.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, Deputy Mayor Wilson, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Bowman, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll receive staff report ED-021-25 as information and approve staff to proceed with the museum roof replacement project at a cost of $136,050.75.
Much discussion? Councillor Hughes, please.
I'm really disappointed in the length of time this has taken. It's been 8 months. That when we initially approved it to now, I appreciate the other work has been completed. But, you know, again, here we are 8 months, 9 months later, and, you know, we're just now approving it's going to be another month and a half, if not 2 months. By the time product gets here, they're not going to be putting a roof on until February, March. And again, very disappointed in this delay. There's a lot of antiquities in the museum that, you know, could have been potentially lost due to infiltration of water because of the length and the delay of this whole scenario. And again, it's going to pull this into 2026. I understand it's going to come from reserves, but yeah, just again, disappointed in the delay and the length of time that when we given a direction as council that it takes to just to, I know I'm going to simplify this, but just to put a roof on. It's disappointing and frustrating.
I think that we did hear tonight that there was different between what was originally going to be there and what was the process that went through. And I certainly share those feelings of wanting to make sure that we do have the buildings maintained and in a way that's, of course, you know, there is a lot of irreplaceable artifacts in those. But going forward, I do think this will provide a solution for that. Hopefully the contingency won't be needed, and we'll be able to have a long-lasting roof, and it'll last everybody in this room, except Councillor Bowman, because Bowmans have a long history of life, so that's a long lifespan. So, Councillor Bowman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I sympathize with your concerns, Councillor Hughes, both on the price and the timing. As we heard, timing was something that was, well, it was something a little bit beyond our control. But the quality of the roof, again, as you pointed out, and the mayor's pointed out, we're there to seal this building off. We need to get it climate controlled to protect our artifacts. And I think that really is why we're going with a higher standard of roof, just to make sure that we can put a good hat on. We got a good pair of boots on it, let's put a good hat on it, then we can wrap it in a nice warm blanket and all will be good inside. So I think that's our goal, and yes, it's probably a little bit more and taking a little bit longer, but I hope the outcome is worth it. And yes, I plan on being around for a long time.
Councillor Van Kooten-Bossence.
I agree with Councillor Bowman, and there's always reasons why things happen, and as disappointing as it might be, you know what, I think going with the higher quality is really going to be beneficial, and I agree that the extra money doesn't help, but if us going with a bit of a higher quality protects the artifacts that are in there, then I think it was meant to be. if we'd put on, no pun, but if we put on a crappy roof, then we're going to end up with more problems. So you know what, maybe this happening is a good thing, and I think that we have to look forward and take it as it is, and we can do this, right? So I'm glad that you're bringing it forward now, and that hopefully, maybe we don't have snow. Let's just hope and pray for that. There we go.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. With that, I will go to Councillor Bowman for bylaws.
Thank you. Moved by myself, Councillor Bowman, seconded by Councillor Hudson, that bylaw 255427 be approved, subject to section 284.11, subsection 4 of the Municipal Act.
Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And Councillor Hudson to adjourn the meeting, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hughes, that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ingersoll adjourn the November 24th, 2025 Special Meeting of Council at 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Okay.
8 p.m.
Thank you very much. Discussion on that, and I'll start off by saying that originally, we were trying to have our budget motions and stuff here. There's still some items on the budget, that information that needs to come forward. So with that, we did talk before about having another special meeting, and I believe it's December 15th. So I will be calling that meeting as the chair, and that notice will go out. So again, and the clerk will notify everybody of the deadline to have notices in for that. Hopefully, all the information that we're waiting, like the police, the policing costs and all those other ones are available then. There should be, they're supposed, it's one of those ones they're told by the end of the month, and so hopefully that will come in any day yet. So all that information will be available, and then council can make recommendations, and we can move towards the final goal of having that presented in January. So any further discussion on adjourning? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you.